Welcome to the First and 30 podcast. I'm Nick, that's Antonino. We have a special guest with us today for episode 65 of the podcast. But before we do the intro of this gentleman sitting here with us in the studio, Antonino, why don't you tell the chain movement what we're all about again?
We are two 30-something-year-old guys giving you 4 bear downs and 30 monsters of the midway minutes of NFL football insight to get you through the offseason.
Heck yeah, and you alluded to it, man. We're going to be covering the Bears a bit here, and what better way to do that than to bring the resident Chicago Bears fan, Bear Den Live. But Antonino, give this intro. Who is this gentleman here with us today?
Folks, we have our eyes and ears. Our Chicago specialist. Some people on the street call him Mr. Chicago. Yes, that's right. We have Bear Den Live in studio with us right now to give everyone the inside scoop on the Chicago Bears.
Let's do it.
Oh.
Let's get it going, boys.
Okay, so Antonino, if you're not on the YouTube, he has the sunglasses, the mustache, the cigar. I'm also repping Chicago. I got the Bulls jersey, MJ, classic MJ. Faizan's over here, Bears Den Live with all his Chicago gear. So, Faizan, are you ready to really dig into your Chicago Bears? We're going to keep it general, and then we're also going to kind of pinpoint a few things that we've been observing, and we want to get your take and your perspectives on a lot of this. You think you can handle the gauntlet with the first and 30?
Yeah, man, I'm ready for this. I know there's a lot of spiel going around in the Chicago sports, but specifically my Bears. So this is a great opportunity to tell the world that the Bears are here and we're here to stay. So let's do it.
I love it. And I think we're going to kick things off with more of the general, broad outlook. So the way we do things here, Faizan, we kind of run through downs. So for our first down, we're going to do more of a Chicago offseason outlook. We want to get your take on all the moves that Chicago's been doing. They have a new coaching staff. They've been beefing up that offensive and defensive line. The draft's behind us, free agency's behind us. We're turning toward training camp, preseason before you know it. What's the feeling over there in Chicago with this current Bears unit heading into 2025?
Hey, I've said it before on my page, and I've said it to multiple people in person. I think this Bears team is one of the most special teams that anyone's ever seen. Aside from the 85, 2006, 2018, this is the year that I think the Bears get it done. And hot take here, I think this is a Super Bowl contending team. So I say that right now.
But jeez. I don't think there's enough finger paint for Caleb Williams' fingernail to make that good. Well, I digress, Nick. I'm not sure.
I mean, you haven't been buying the hype, but I certainly have been buying the hype. Pretty much all offseason. We did an episode a few weeks ago, worst to first, for divisional teams. I picked Chicago winning the NFC North this year, even though it's a very competitive division. You have Green Bay, Detroit, Minnesota, all playoff teams just a year ago. I think Chicago's going to flip the script, though, this year. I like what they've been doing, trading for Joe Thuney, adding Jonah Jackson, Drew Dahlman, really just focusing in on the offensive line. But how are you feeling specifically with the coaching staff, too? You bring in Ben Johnson now from Detroit, a rival.
Yeah.
Well, how are you kind of anticipating that to translate this season with the offense?
Look, there's so many people. I've heard ESPN calling, everybody, all these analytics people are saying, oh, he's an offensive coach. He can't be a head coach. But you've seen his track record, right? In Detroit, this man lifted Jared Goff. He transformed that Detroit team to what it is today. And a lot of people say it was Dan Campbell, but it was in the hands of that man, Ben Johnson. And that was the hire that nobody thought the Bears could ever make, right? We gave him a huge contract for a reason, right? He's been so successful. And if you're pairing him with a successful young quarterback like Caleb, this season will show why that's going to pay off. And everybody's just doubting it, but you guys just have to sit back and just watch how it pans out.
You really made a deal with the devil, going to your rival in the division. I'm ready. Hand me a bar of soap. I feel dirty just talking about this. I don't know.
Are you not a believer in this, Antonino? You don't think the move to Ben Johnson's gonna move the pendulum? I mean, this is an upgrade though from having Shane Waldron as your offensive coordinator, Matt Eberflus, who's now the defensive coordinator of my Cowboys. This is an upgrade. How could you not see that?
It gives me the ick, but I do think it's gonna unlock a ton of doors. Caleb Williams,
Yeah.
the growth is coming. I feel it.
There we go. There we go. It's coming, man. He's so young. He's 22, 23 years old. He's got nothing to lose. He's only got haters to prove. And I think Ben Johnson is, I think surrounding him with a great offensive line and a great offensive set like Luther, DJ, Rome, Cole Kmet, Colson Loveland. You got Sony, DeAndre Swift. That's not to even name everyone, but it's gonna be a crazy year, and it's something to look forward to for sure.
Well, I like that they went and pinpointed their weakness this offseason, and they invested so heavily into just righting the wrong. I mean, Caleb Williams was one of the most sacked quarterbacks. I think he was the most sacked quarterback in the league last year. So you pinpoint that weakness, you invest heavily to protect your young first overall pick. So sky's the limit. But I want to know too, Faizan, over under. Vegas has Chicago as 8.5 wins. Are we buying the dip? Are we thinking this is higher or lower? Oh,
Don't worry, we're going over 8.5. We're going over. I think that's a great line, considering we had like barely anything close to that last year. You know, we lost multiple games that we should have won, and it's thanks to your defensive coordinator now, Nick, Mr. Matt Eberflus. Not throwing shade, but no, I'm buying the hype on that. 8.5, I love it. I think my prediction is 11 wins too. And I might be delusional, like a delusional Bears fan, like I have for my 23 years of my life, but I'm going 11 wins. I'm buying the hype on the 8.5. I think that it's a number that a lot of people are going to probably buy the dip on and say, no, we're going to go under, but 8.5, totally doable line. 11 wins is my prediction for this team.
That's a high number. I know I'm a betting man. I'm a gambling man, and we talked about it earlier. Unless you got Refrigerator Perry in that backfield, or McMahon throwing passes, or Devin Hester returning punts, I don't know if that magic is going to come back that fast. But it'll be close. It'll be close.
I think, dude, there's like every year you want your team to go up, and every year I feel like we've been going down on just a downhill. Like we're reversed. Our franchise is so reversed in every NFL team and every franchise, right? We've never invested in a coach. We've never invested in a quarterback. We never invested in anything. But this year, that the fact that Kevin Warren and he got the ownership to, go pick up their slack and go do something, it just shows that like, hey, you have a better team, you have more money, you generate more fans, you generate more gear, you generate more ticket sales. Go out and do what you need. And this is what they did, and it's for a reason, right? These are all businessmen, these are all businesswomen. Everybody knows what they're doing. So the fact that we went to go invest in this, it's a scheme, and I freaking love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
The vibes are so high. The vibes are immaculate. I'm going to be cheering for the Bears all year just because of this right here. This is great.
I love it. I love it. We're recruiting fans.
I don't mean to change the tenor of this too, but we're going to head into second down here, Faizan. And this might be a little bit more poignant of a topic, but this offseason we've had a big story that broke and kind of quiet in the midst of everything. And that's revolving around Caleb Williams and his desire not to be drafted by the Bears last year. It was published in a book called American Kings by Seth Wickersham. I just want to know, how does that make you feel right now as a Bears fan? Is it water under the bridge? Or is this a big issue that's going to be a distraction moving forward for this team?
And I was waiting for this question to happen, and I want every viewer watching this before or after during this to know that Caleb loves the city, and that anything that came out in that book, I totally understand. I back him up. But dude, he's a year into his career. He embraces the city. We embrace him more so than anything. We've embraced him so well. I think that book is totally valid. His father was completely right. Hey, the Bears have never had a 4,000-yard passing quarterback. Come on, I know that. You know that. Like, we're a sad franchise, 100%. But the fact that he's already played out a year and that's coming out a year later just to tarnish his name, it's very exhausting to continue to talk about, because the media is always targeting Bears players, and the Bears tax is always there. But look, I support it. I hear him. I agree that this is where quarterbacks go to die, quote unquote. That's what he said, and I agree. You look at Justin Fields, man. He got killed in Chicago. So I support it, but the city embraces him and we embrace him. So we're all looking past it. So
As a Bengals fan, I can relate. I'm starting to get teary-eyed. Just all the bashing. It's easy to bash us little guys, the talking heads on ESPN like to bash us for some reason, while the darling child Cowboys. But we won't go there. We won't go there.
Faizan, just for a bit more context and clarification, Antonino thinks that the media has a vendetta against his Bengals too. I have to. He thinks the whole Trey Hendrickson situation is being blown out of proportion. Shamar Stewart blown out of proportion, but I digress.
yeah, no, you guys are a very small family-owned franchise still, and like the Bears. But you guys are in such a small city. If you guys are going to continue to not pay these players, you're going to get the result of Trey Henderson. And you didn't want to pay Jamal. You don't want to pay the best wide receiver that we have seen.
I don't have enough Advil in my medicine cabinet for this conversation right now. However, back to Caleb Williams. I happen to know the guy. He played football at Gonzaga High School, the same division I played football in, the WCAC, right in D.C. So I've played against Gonzaga, and I know him. The guy went to USC, and he loved that weather out there. So from going from USC in California to Chicago, there has to be some truth behind him maybe not wanting to play in cold weather.
You think weather?
That's not the whole thing you're going to say weather? That's where we're going with weather?
The truth that he probably wanted to avoid Chicago, yes. And he probably wanted to play somewhere with nicer weather because, like you said, quarterbacks go to die in Chicago.
Oh, they do. They do. And I as a Bears fan, will always agree to that. You look at Justin Fields, you look at Cutler, you look at any quarterback in the Bears. We've never had 4,000 yards, man. How is that possible?
That's crazy.
It's ridiculous.
Well, Carl Williams, so Caleb's father, apparently, as it was published in this book, spoke with Archie Manning and tried to figure out how can we get this leverage similar to how he played out that situation with Eli, forcing the trade from San Diego to New York. So he was seeking consultation with various people. They were contemplating, too, the UFL route and just bypassing the NFL altogether. It did seem, though, from these perspectives, a lot of what was being pushed was from Carl Williams, who even at the time, there was concerns about his involvement with Caleb's kind of career and how it was being handled. But how has that been playing out so far now that he's a season in? Are we hearing from Carl at all these days?
Hey, dude, I follow the guy's Twitter. I'll give him that. If Carl Williams ever watches this, I'm following your Twitter. Him and Roma Dunze's dad, they're very active on Twitter. I'll tell you that. During the middle of the season, when Shane Waldron and the Eberflusties broke out that nobody watches tape with him, and that he's literally breaking down. Like, I saw it with my eyes. I went to a couple games, and I could see the kid breaking down. He went onto Twitter and would comment about how the coaching staff is deteriorating and he has no help, which I totally agree with. But after this whole book thing, to answer your question, Nick, he hasn't spoken. I know Caleb addressed it a couple weeks ago at the first presser that he had talked about, and he literally was talking like it was his ex-girlfriend. Like he had to give the world an explanation on what is going on with his life, which is totally unacceptable. But no, we don't hear from Carl since then. He posts on Twitter here and there throughout the season, but he's gone radio silent since his whole thing got exposed, and I would love to hear what he has to say after his whole comments came out.
Seems like a cease and desist type of situation where the agent might have gotten a little bit more involved now. I'm like, hey, look, we need to simmer down here. Like Caleb live his life, play his career.
Yeah.
He's an adult, right?
Yeah, like, come on. Like, at the end of the day, we're all adults, and he has a legacy to build here, right? He has a career, he has money to make, he has connections to make, and he has a Super Bowl to win. If you're going to keep tarnishing the kid's name, you're only going to put his reputation down. We only want to boost our quarterback's name up, not put him down. So, like, it's good that, if they got him in control, then, geez, man, put that guy, put some mouth tape over him and tell him and keep his mouth shut.
Hey, I like the way you think. That's good.
All right. Well, before we head into halftime, Antonino, do you have anything else that you want to point toward Faizan just in regards to this topic too?
Well, no, I need one more thing. I got one more thing. We have a lot of listeners from the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia, and a lot of them listening. Yep, a lot of them listening.
He knows where it's going. He knows where it's going.
We have a lot of Commanders fans listening right now, and they remember a moment when the Chicago Bears were 4-2, living this dreamy little season to start last year. And then there was a Hail Mary and Tyreek Stevenson, the defensive back, taunting the fans. Are the Bears cursed? After that Hail Mary play, you guys were 4-2. Things have gone downhill since. Can you guys ever recover from that?
We will recover. We will recover because we play Washington this year again, Monday night. Mark your calendars. Yeah, we were playing them in October. I have this date written down. We are coming back to Washington. To all the folks listening in the DMV, the Washington area, the Commanders fans, you guys got your little laugh, but we're coming back this year. We're getting our last laugh on them because, man, that conversation of Jaden Daniels and Caleb will be one for the books.
Yeah.
And when you say cursed, I do think the Bears, after that double doink, after this whole now this is like the new double doink, not fully like a double doink, but man, we got cursed. And we let the Commanders fan have their little ha ha he he. We got backlash all over social media. It still comes up on my TV, on my Twitter. Oh, the Tariq Stevenson. But you guys just wait because the sophomore slump is the real thing. We saw it in CJ. So not saying that that's gonna happen to Jane Daniels because I'm not comparing the two, but.
Not either.
You heard it here first. That's the best answer I could have ever. You have the day circled on your calendar.
Oh man, yeah. I think I might even go to that. I think I was planning on going to the game if I don't have to go to a wedding, but that game is really circled on my calendar. Every morning I look at it, I'm like, yep, this is we're gonna go to this game because we're gonna get our last laugh.
I think we need Faizan to go on with us during that and talk to Commander Joe. We have a buddy, Commander Joe. He's been on it, talks about the Commanders, so we might have to do like some kind of introduction battle royale between you here.
Oh, I'm here for it, man. I'm here for this team. I love it, dude. I think Jaden and Caleb are, they're the future of the NFL. I mean, I'm not discrediting any other quarterback. You got CJ, you got so many different young quarterbacks. But considering the 1 and 2 pick and how neck to neck they played in that game and their whole season, the franchise is pushing them to be better. They're setting them up for success, and I'm excited for those two guys, man. Props to both of them.
Love it. I love it. All right. Well, I think we're going to head into the half-minute halftime here, but before we do, Faizan, thank you so much for joining us on First and 30. It's been awesome hearing your perspectives on the Chicago sports scene, specifically the Bears. We hope to have you on here again.
Yes, sir, man.
Where can folks find you at? Where can they slide into your DMs and what?
Yeah. On social media, anybody want to slide in my DM, feel free. I'm always willing to collab, do anything, show support. But at Bear Den Live, that's BearDenLive, TikTok and Instagram. Thanks to you guys, Nick. Thanks for hosting, Antonino. Thanks for setting everything up, and glad to have given my thoughts and opinions on the Bears. And a lot of if you guys clip any of this, we know that we're going to the Super Bowl. So
because they're back, girls.
There it was. That's Faizan, Bears Den Live. We appreciate him joining us. Antonino, head into that half-minute halftime show. Give us a little break here.
That's right. The vibes are immaculate in Chicago, but they're also immaculate on the First and 30 pod. If you made it this far with us in the offseason, we're so close to the regular season. Tune in with us and tune in for all the collabs like we had today.
It's awesome. And go ahead and follow at Bear Den Live to get the latest on the Chicago sports scene too. Heading into the third down here, Antonino. We were kind of highlighting this in the past episode regarding some of these, projected trades, contract disputes. And one of the trades did transpire. It happened. We saw Jalen Ramsey get shipped off to the Pittsburgh Steelers in exchange for Minkah Fitzpatrick. Jonnu Smith, the tight end, was also included in this package. So I just want to kind of go around the horn. Reactions to this deal. Is this moving the pendulum in either way? What are we hearing and learning from this as well? Let me get your take on it first.
This is the weirdest trade here because I thought Ramsey would be traded for sure. I didn't think Minkah Fitzpatrick was going to be going back to Miami. Like that whole switch there, confusing because Minka's younger by a little bit. Jonnu went one way, but then after the trade, Miami then signed Darren Waller out of retirement. So it's almost like an even swap tight end, corner for corner. If you want to look at it in that way, it's like an even exchange of position players. Like, does it move the bar?
So kind of just both teams about the same where they were then, in your opinion, maybe. It's like, let's get one disgruntled guy off for another disgruntled guy. Change of scenery might do them best. You're kind of balancing things out with the age gaps too. Ramsey's 30, Minkah's 28. You got Jonnu Smith, who I think's like 29, and then Waller 33. So you're like kind of equaling out to the age difference thing.
My favorite way of putting this is that both teams are just rearranging the deck of the Titanic. It's just a see-through sip. Both teams are just rearranging the chairs. It's going down no matter what. It's a wash. It's a wash.
Okay. So you think this isn't really doing anything anyway? There's life vests that are already out in the water, and you're just scrambling at this point.
If I had to say help one team more than the other, I would say the Steelers, because we have Ramsey, who's still an elite player. You get a tight end, which fills a need. But then also with Aaron Rodgers, you hate to think this guy has weapons now. Like, you just give him a big tight end like that with he has a high ceiling. He didn't perform like he should have in Miami. So there's nothing to lose here from a Pittsburgh perspective.
Well, I mean, Jonnu Smith was setting records last year for Miami. So I think this is, under the radar addition. I think he's like the asset that Pittsburgh's actually getting here in this deal. I'm kind of curious how it's going to play out with Pat Freiermuth already on the roster, but Jonnu Smith, 88 catches, 884 receiving yards. That was a franchise record for the Dolphins. First Pro Bowl selection. So you're getting 2 Pro Bowl caliber players now on your roster. I know you're not a Pittsburgh fan for various reasons, but they've done a lot of interesting things this offseason. It's an older team, right? They have some aging veterans that they're hoping can be lightning in the bottle, but you never know. We've talked about it. Aaron Rodgers, you got DK Metcalf now too. The offense is looking maybe that it could be a step up better than it was last year. Now you had Jonnu Smith, Caleb Johnson in the backfield too. I'm liking what Pittsburgh's been doing here.
I'll give in. Okay, I'm just bitter. Okay, I like what the Steelers are doing. Yes, Jonnu Smith is good. All right. I'm sick of talking about the Steelers. But on the other side, with Miami, what are they thinking here? Like, Tua going to be throwing to Darren Waller, guy who's been retired for the past season. I'm just confused. They give up Ramsey. All right, they get Fitzpatrick, who used to play with them in the past, and he comes back for a second tour in Miami. What's going on the Miami side of things?
I think Jalen Ramsey was honestly like a cancerous player in their locker room. And you've seen this from him in every place he's played. When it comes time to pay up or shut up, Jalen Ramsey doesn't shut up. He just runs his mouth until he gets what he wants. He did it in Jacksonville. He did it in LA. Now he did it in Miami. There are reports coming out now that he was regularly late to practice last season. He got into confrontations and undermined former defensive coordinator Vic Fangio and head coach Mike McDaniel. So I think from Miami's perspective, they were just done with him. They're like, obviously there was some cap situations that are playing into this, but I think more so it's like, we need to clean up this locker room. We need to try to get some semblance of, continuity back in this team. And this was a big move for them to get one step closer. You bring Fitzpatrick, who's considered a leader over there in Pittsburgh. I like it. I like it for both teams. I think it's good.
It's good. Like, again, rearranging the deck on the Titanic. That's what it seems like.
Maybe for Miami, yeah. Not for Pittsburgh. I think for Pittsburgh, it's like, yeah.
It's a wait and see.
Or adding some things, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, man. So that was third down. We had those trades. Fourth down, there was a story that went kind of under the radar here recently. And if you're not really plugged into all things happening in the NFL right now, you probably didn't even hear about this. But there was some litigation happening over the past 2 years, and an arbitrator came up with a ruling to this legal battle that I didn't even know existed, but there was apparently a conspiratorial report that NFL owners were colluding against players receiving fully guaranteed contracts in response to that mega deal Deshaun Watson received back in 2022. Did you hear about this, Antonino? Because this is actually like some juicy stuff.
You know, the NFL, they think they're slick, huh? Trying to sneak this on all of us, sweep it under the rug. No way, not happening. If you were here with us last offseason, we had the conspiracy theory episode. And what's the difference between the truth and a conspiracy? About 3 weeks. But here we are, folks, guilty as charged. These filthy owners on the back end were colluding.
Well, let's temper this back a bit. They were not proven guilty, though. The arbitrator did rule that there were some clubs that were being accused of colluding, but ultimately they did not collude. There's this other entity that comes in and I guess gives like general advice and counsel to NFL owners during their like annual meetings. Well, when they all gathered shortly after this Deshaun Watson trade, this kind of consulting group came in and basically said to owners, you should really avoid giving teams guarantees. We just suggested, nothing else. We're not telling you what to do. And then from there, owners were making their own independent decisions not to give fully guarantees because it sets a precedence that, they won't be able to build rosters once you're giving these QBs like $250 million guaranteed. And then, there's this kind of like entitlement clause kind of thing, this culture that happens afterward where players are just like, wow, he got it. I'm better than him. I should get it too. Yeah. So what do you think, though, Antonio? I think my impression or reaction was like, oh, this is a story. I thought NFL owners were like on the same page. Do you think owners are really not on the same page with this kind of stuff? And this is all like just for show? Like, oh, we don't do that. We're all independent. Like, what do you think?
I would love to be a fly on the wall in the WhatsApp group message owners. I'm sure these guys have some secret encrypted group chat somewhere where they're all talking about the same things about like what not to do, what to do. I'm sure what the quarterback, Patrick, whatever, he's trying to go back in the NFL again. He's 37 years old. Maybe they blackballed him. I'm sure they have a private email text thread where they blackball players. They don't want to do guaranteed money. For sure, 1,000%.
Well, it was interesting because after the Deshaun Watson deal, if you recall, there were a few big-name QBs that were ready to reset the market again. Lamar Jackson being one. Here's a guy that has an MVP under his belt. He didn't get a fully guaranteed deal. We could argue, I don't even think we can argue, he's much better than Deshaun Watson. If anybody deserved a fully guaranteed contract, it's him over Watson. You also had Russell Wilson, who then got traded to Denver at the time. He was trying to go for a fully guaranteed deal. Nope, he didn't get it. Kyler Murray, too. His agent argued, we're better than Deshaun Watson. We deserve a fully guaranteed. And at the time, I could see that argument being made. Kyler was still young. He had a few Pro Bowls under his belt. I think he was in contention to be an MVP a season or two prior to that. So all this to say, it's quite coincidental, Antonino, that shortly after this mega deal and this consulting group comes in, that owners just decide, we're not biting that.
And what was the excuse? Lamar Jackson, he runs a lot. It's a risky proposition. Or, Kyler Murray, injury prone or young. Excuses.
I'm glad you point out the Lamar Jackson thing because that was the excuse. And owners were apparently not. If you remember, Lamar sought a trade. He wanted to be traded, but no one was biting for him. And the excuse was injury prone. We don't want to invest in a guy that's BS, Antonino. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
If a MVP quarterback who is in his prime is demanding a trade, you're not going to bite for that? Atlanta was one of the teams that was reportedly interested. And then all of a sudden, Arthur Blank backs off. Nah, he's injury. That we don't, that, like,
They'll go to great lengths to hide the cover up. But I swear, if I find that WhatsApp, I'm spilling all the beans. We're getting on it. We're not letting them off easy on this one.
Yeah. So For those listening, go check this story out. It's super juicy, super interesting. This is just scratching the surface. The NFLPA was involved in some ways too, and it's just kind of a dirty situation. I feel bad for the players. The takeaway is the players are getting screwed not only by the NFLPA, but also by ownership, it sounds like, too.
If you're not cheating, you're not trying. Is that the expression? I don't even know. I guess.
Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft know a thing or two about that.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
All right, Antonino. Well, that does it for our 4 down. So let's hop into whatever news is out there in our 2-minute drill.
Yes, there's jersey news. 3 teams are unveiling on July 9th alternate jerseys and helmets. The Commanders, the Bucks, and the Saints. Keep your eyes out for that July the 9th.
That's tomorrow. Sweet. All right. So Kirk Cousins said he might have re-signed with the Minnesota Vikings last offseason had he known the Atlanta Falcons would draft a quarterback in the first round. Stating this in the Netflix series Quarterback, which premiered this past Tuesday, he felt misled after the Falcons drafted Penix with the 8th overall pick.
Shame on them. Fun fact, the Pittsburgh Steelers are only favored in 6 out of their 17 games this coming season.
Well, the Dallas Cowboys reported to training camp in Oxnard, California on July 20th. Dak Prescott will be cleared for all activities, saying he's a full go for training camp.
Another fun fact, NFL water boys earn over $3,000 per game, which averages out to $50,000 per season. Looking for a career change? They also get to travel with the team.
That's a good deal. I'm quitting my job tomorrow. All right. Dallas Cowboys All-Pro kick returner Cavante Turpin was arrested Saturday by the Allen County Police Department. He's facing 2 misdemeanor charges on possession of marijuana and unlawful carrying of a weapon.
On the opposite end of the spectrum, former Seahawks receiver Tyler Lockett revealed he was a virgin until he was 30 years old. He's a devout Christian and waited until marriage.
What is that? Oh my gosh. More? So there's more Netflix QB insights revealed. Last December, December's home burglary made Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow change his mind about a big purchase, Antonino. He canceled his previous purchase of a replica, fully functioning Batmobile.
Wow.
F you money.
Need help making it to the NFL season? NCAA 26 was just released this week.
It's downloaded on my PlayStation now. A Kansas legislative committee has extended a deadline for the Chiefs and the Royals to take advantage of a stadium financing plan for the state.
Last but not least, we're going to end this on a high note. Randy Moss will be returning to a full-time role on Sunday Night Football Countdown after battling and kicking bile duct cancer in the butt. Good for Randy Moss.
That's awesome. I appreciate that news. That is something cool to hear. But
Gotta love Randy Moss, man.
Yeah. That does it though, Antonino. That was a cool episode. We gotta thank Bear Den Live again. Faizan, great having you on the show. I think I learned a few things, and you put Antonino in his place. I'm grateful.
I will be cheering for the Bears this year. Bear down, Bear Den Live. Check them out. But ladies and gentlemen, you know the drill. We'll see you on the next one. The next one is the best one.
That's right. Thank you for joining us for another episode of First and 30. Until next time, remember, your number's called. No matter the odds.
Let's go for it.